Alright folks, it's time for us to dive back behind the blue. Today we're going to go over the ins and outs of the Inspect Those Gadgets Foundry Favorites video for Destiny 2. There was a lot of fun stuff that went into making this video, so without further ado, let's dive in. This video had a lot of fun challenges that went along with it, and the main challenge came from me playing a different class from what I'm used to playing in Destiny 2. For those of you who don't play the game very often, you may not have noticed, but I always play as either the Warlock or the Titan when I'm making these Foundry Favorites videos, but for this one, I dove in as the Hunter. And it created a lot of interesting challenges for me to work with, and it also allowed me to experiment with different features in the game that the Warlock and the Titan don't have access to, specifically a stealth mechanic, and we'll talk about that in a little bit, but for now we'll start with the introduction. This one was pretty simple and bare bones, similar to what we had in the Suros video, in the Graviton Lance Tractor Cannon video. I can't even remember the names right now. It's really hot, so my brain's not working all that well, and I can't really record effectively with the air conditioner on, but it's a bare bones introductions. And you can compare this one to the 50 Shades of Grey introduction and see why I call it bare bones, right? There are two different types of intro sequences that I like to have. It's either going to be, this is the information and there's just cool clips on screen that are loosely related to the script, or there's going to be a grand narrative that I'm trying to set up. And this one was the former. It was just a very basic premise being set up. We're going through the introduction, and this is just cool stuff on screen that's loosely based on what we're talking about. So for this one, there wasn't so much a theme per se, as I went into this one with a couple of keywords that I wanted to keep in mind as I edited and wrote the script and everything. And the keywords were secret agent, covert operative, mission impossible. Those three words, I wanted them to permeate every inch of the script. And what are some things that I like about secret agents? Well, I like the music choice that they have in the Mission Impossible movies. I love the Mission Impossible theme song. I love it. I could listen to it all day. I listen to it when I'm working out sometimes. It gets me hyped up. So I wanted to have at least a few songs in there that had a quality to them that is similar to what you get in James Bond and Mission Impossible. But also, I wanted the actions that were going on screen to mirror that as well. So we set up by talking about the secret agents being cool, and we're just showing off some sidearm gameplay in Destiny 2. And I've always equated sidearms and silenced pistols and handguns as tools belonging to a secret agent like James Bond. So I thought it was fitting to have that. But again, there was no grand narrative being told with the clips. It was just very simple, very basic. This looks cool, so I'm gonna go through some lost sectors or mini dungeons and just get some clips, make it look cool. End of story. But as we move into the first cinematic section, things do start to spice up a little bit, and we start telling a little bit more of a cohesive story with the clips, and the script. So, moving into that first section, we have the Rattler sidearm. And straight away, it's plain to see, if you're somebody that plays Destiny 2, that these clips would have been impossible to collect if I wasn't playing as the Hunter class. The Hunter class is the only one that can turn invisible, and using that invisibility allowed me to create this sensation of sneaking around a little bit more so than you can with other characters. I mean, you can walk around and kind of crouch behind boxes when you're playing as a Titan or a Warlock, but you can't just hide in plain sight. And I thought that was a very important aspect of conveying that secret agent covert operative idea. So we start off just by walking around a fire base. This was Firebase Hades in the European Dead Zone area of the game, and we're essentially casing the area. We're casing the joint before we go in and take out all the enemies. And my favorite clip from this first cinematic section is when we're walking behind a bunch of Cabal and they have no idea we're there, and they're just standing around looking on their monitors and just chilling, shooting the breeze, smoking a little joint, whatever they do, and we're just walking behind them. They're not shooting at us. It's a quick moment, but I'm really glad that I was able to get lucky and have the AI spaced out in the way that they were. I just thought it was a great way to say, okay, we're doing some secret shit right now, and don't nobody have any idea what's going on. But then after we transition from walking outside the fire base, we go inside, and we're setting up this idea that we're going into this place on a secret mission, and we're going to kill everybody once we get inside. And that's pretty much what happens. As soon as we walk straight to the main entrance of the facility, we see a Cabal walking around minding his own business, and then we smash cut to a big action sequence where we're taking out enemies one at a time with our sidearm. And I thought it was important for this section to showcase the fact that this is a true secondary weapon. And in Destiny, if you're using a secondary weapon, you're not going to be mowing down massive fields of enemies. You're going to be taking out one guy at a time, and you're going to be reloading a lot because of the small magazine capacities. I think there were there were 2 different reloads in this clip, and that's kind of a lot. It felt like a lot, but it conveys the idea that this is supposed to be your backup weapon. But if you're a spy, you need something silenced, and you're gonna have to make do with what you got, kind of feeling. So yeah, let's watch the clip in its entirety and see the action play out. And there it is. It's a quick one. It's not the most action-packed sequence that I've ever made. It's arguably not even the best sequence I've ever made. But it felt really good. It felt like everything was pieced together correctly. The setup was clear enough. Everything within it made sense. And I think that the music helped to elevate it to a really good place. It definitely had again, a Mission Impossible covert action feel to it, and I'm happy with the way this first bit came out. I think it was a good introduction to the Viced Foundry. But as we move on to the next cinematic section with the Valakadin auto rifle, this was so cool. I really loved making this section because I drew inspiration from one of my favorite movies of all time, Heat, with Robert De Niro. It's a bit of an old movie at this point, but there was a scene in Heat where it's a crime movie, and you're following around these serial bank robbers, and there was a shootout scene towards the end, and I firmly believe this was one of the greatest shootout scenes to ever be captured on film. And the reason I feel like it was so great was because it was loud. It was horrifyingly loud. And I've never fired a gun in real life. I've never been around real guns firing. But when I watch the shootout scene in Heat with Robert De Niro, I feel like, holy shit, that's how loud a real gun sounds. That's sending chills down my spine. And that noise was something that I wanted to bring out in this series of clips. So overall, the sequence for the Valakadin, how many seconds was it? It was about 15 seconds-ish. Yeah, it was about 15 seconds, but in those 15 seconds, I wanted you to hear this gun more than anything. The music is almost secondary to the sound of the gun just firing and blasting through enemies. And it was pretty easy to get the clips because with a gun like this, it functions similar to a Tommy gun where you just kind of hold it at the hip and spray and pray and hope you hit stuff. So I was just kind of running around holding the camera as still as possible to make sure everything looks nice, but just going to town on enemies and blasting them. But the important thing was to get that sound, that noise, and mixing the volume levels correctly to make sure that the gun sounds pierce through strongly enough was important. I also thought it was pretty important for this bit to have moments of silence similar to what happened in Heat, because there was one scene in particular, one moment in particular in Heat where one of the bad guys had to reload his gun, and you hear these loud guns. I was like, bah, 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 and then he stops to reload, and everything gets a little bit eerily quiet. And as soon as he cocks back that gun, bah, 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 it's super loud again. So I wanted to have a couple of moments in this section where we go from the loud rat-tat-tat of the Valakadon and then contrast it with the silent moments where we're reloading. And there was another silent moment where we're doing a parkour roll after jumping off of a high object, and the gun firing has to stop for that as well. But yeah, it worked out. And one thing that I felt had to be added to this section is something that we saw in the 50 Shades of Grey video, where I had to input the gun sounds and raise the volume on the sound effect of the reload, just because I didn't want there to be perfect silence in the clip. I wanted to have the sound effect of the reload coming through as much as possible, so that it didn't feel like too much dead air. So yeah, this one was a lot of fun. It's one of my favorite things to do with my YouTube gaming videos is to bring in elements from some of my favorite shows and favorite movies and things, and see if I can convey the feelings that I got when I watched those movies and those shows with the game that I'm playing and making content for. You know, I've mentioned this on a couple of different videos that you may or may not have seen, but the overall style for these Foundry favorites videos, for my Titanfall videos, and to a degree my For Honor videos as well, is the inspiration is drawn heavily from Top Gear and the Grand Tour. I love the idea of combining information and entertainment and making these really artistic sort of mini movie experiences, and it's so much fun to do that, man. So let's dive into this Valakadon section. Let's watch it. Now, one thing that I was debating that I should try with this section that I ultimately decided was unnecessary, or that it wasn't working as well as I would have liked it to, was adding extra reverb to the sound effect of the guns. Because again, going back to the heat in that movie clip, the shootout scene takes place in a big city area, so as the actors are firing off their guns, the sound is echoing and reverberating off of all of the skyscrapers that are near the characters, and it just adds to that deafening, horrifying sound. But I don't think it would have added all that much to the Valakadon section if I added extra reverb. I tried it out, and it didn't feel like it was necessary. I think it wound up being pretty solid as it was. So yeah, and as far as being connected to the overall theme and the keywords of secret agent, special operative, Mission Impossible, it's a silenced auto rifle that looks like it's very easy to conceal. So it kind of it spoke for itself. The main stylistic decisions that I went for in making the clips maybe didn't have all that much to do with secret agents, but the gun and the style of the weapon kind of spoke for itself, and the music as well added to that coolness factor. So this section may be a little bit disjointed from the rest of the video, but the nature of the guns and the script, they spoke for themselves. And I suppose, to my own credit, even sometimes a spy needs a bigger gun than a little sidearm, or a pocket pistol, as I referred to the Rattler as in the script. So we are just about done here. We're going to move into the final section with the colony grenade launcher. And this section was a pain in the ass, 100%. I did not like collecting footage for this one. I did not enjoy going straight to jail, not passing go and collecting $200. It just wasn't fun to make this section, because the colony grenade launcher does not give a fuck about the concepts and the ideas that I want to make into a reality. It just doesn't care. And this is the problem with not having access to the ability to 100% script out the actions that you're seeing on screen. The colony grenade launcher fires mechanical robot spiders that chase down enemies and blow up when they get in close proximity. However, they don't always chase after the things you want them to chase after. Sometimes they don't even chase after anything at all. They just run away, go to Starbucks, get a coffee, and then blow up the Starbucks. They just do whatever the hell they want. So I went into this with some very specific ideas that I wanted to do and some very specific sequences that I wanted to collect. And every time I tried to create those sequences, my spider grenades did not give a damn. They just went their own way and messed up the recording. I mean, I had this idea that I wanted to, okay, I'm going to fire 2 grenades down this way, and then I'm going to do this, and then the grenades are going to come around behind. They didn't do none of that stuff. They were absolutely terrible. So after several attempts at just making something look cool and trying to get these very specific clips, I said, you know what? Forget all that nonsense. I'm just going to get one good sequence of events using the colony grenade launcher, mixing that in with the toolkit of the hunter. And that's what you see in the final section, where we start off by doing a dodge roll. We shoot a grenade at a guy, he blows up, then we shoot another grenade, throw a knife into the face of that one guy, then we turn to watch the explosion, and that's it. It's just one quick sequence of events, but it's showcasing in a very simple way that the colony grenades, they will do stuff for you in the background. So you can shoot one, you can turn, you can look at another enemy, you can take a sip of your soda, whatever you're going to do, but the colony grenades, they're going to go after the enemy even while you're not looking. And it's simple, it's short, but it gets the point across. I'm done. Because it was just such a pain in the ass trying to get very specific clips for the colony grenade launcher, because I have no control over the actual spider grenades once they've hit the floor. But yeah, I think it did end up working out pretty well, because this was a cool looking sequence of events. And that's something that hopefully I will be able to convey more of in the next Foundry Favorites video, is just the level of style and fluidity that exists in the hunter. I mean, just landing those throwing knives, I felt so cool. I've been playing a lot with the throwing knife whenever I play my hunter now, and it's so satisfying to just get those precision hits with it, hitting the bad guy right in the face and watching them explode. It's super satisfying, and I'm going to try to do a lot more of that in the next Foundry Favorites video, which is, interestingly enough, going to be a sort of season finale. This is going to be, I think, the 7th Foundry Favorites or the 6th Foundry Favorites or something like that, and I feel like it's going to mark the end of what I would consider the first season of this series of videos. And as we move into Forsaken, I'm hoping they add more foundries. They're definitely going to add more guns, and I'm going to start up the so-called second season of Foundry Favorites once Forsaken drops in September. But it's going to be really exciting. I'm 100% looking forward to the next video, and I almost looked at this Viced Foundry Favorites video, Inspect Those Gadgets, as a testing ground for the final season finale, because I wanted to really explore the hunter as best as possible, learn how to edit for it, learn different ways I can manipulate dodging and knife throwing, so that in the season finale, what was something that I want to do is use all 3 of the character classes at some point in the video to sort of bring it all together. And it's going to be a really exciting one. I've already written out most of the script. I planned out some of the different sequences I want to get. Oh boy, you guys are in for a treat for the season finale. I'm excited. But anyway, yeah, that's going to pretty much do it for this one. We're right at the end. Though there was a cool thing that I got to do at the end of the video, and it was funny. It made me laugh. There was a joke at the end about the the Hake Foundry and the fact that their motto is "We are Hake. We use hammers, not scalpels." So they make big guns. They deal a lot of damage, and they're really strong, but they're not smart. They're the only foundry that doesn't make energy weapons. So they're meatheads. And I made a little joke about being a meathead in there, and the clips on screen wound up being kind of. And it made me laugh. I mean, yeah, it was cool. So, so that's gonna wrap it up, though. That's the gist of this video. Overall, I would say this one was very solid. I'm very easily willing to give myself a 7.5, 8 out of 10 for this one. It was cleanly executed. It followed all the right format. There was nothing really sloppy about anything. I definitely think there were bits that I could have done maybe a little bit better. I think I could have definitely extended out the section with the colony. I could have tried to create more sequences with the hunter just throwing knives and getting kills with the colony simultaneously and punching guys. I could have expanded on that a little bit. But overall, all of the other sections, I'm very happy with them. There isn't all that much I would change. I think the section with the Rattler, it was good. It was good. There's not all that much I would have really gone back to change. I don't think there was much that I needed to fix with this. This was the first video that didn't have really any audio sync going for it within the clips. Some of the transitions line up with the beat of the music, and that's fine. But there were no really discernible and hard-hitting punches that said this is on beat with the music, this is the beat. There weren't many moments that were really strong like that. There was something that happened that I wanted to talk about that I completely forgot about what the hell it was. But you know what? I think I'll save it for the next video. I'll save it for the next one. There were yeah. I remember what it was. There's a couple of editing techniques that I'm gonna talk about in the next video, and it'll be a lot of fun, just like this one. So we're can't talk. We're gonna wrap it up here by saying the name of the game is Destiny 2. The name of the channel is iBluairJgR. This has been Behind the Blue for the Inspect Those Gadgets Foundry Favorites video. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment. Let me know how you feel about secret agents and spy movies. Do you like them, or is it not your favorite genre? Also, the Mission Impossible theme song. Do you love it, or do you just think it's okay? Because I love it. I really love it. I mean, if you don't love it, that's okay, but I love it. So, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.